Just got back from the Gold Coast. I've had to pick the head up. Mate wants to test it and make sure all the water jackets are tight and it's not going to leak before he does anything. So first of all, I've got to make a plate to block this off. That's where the carbies go. I've got some 10mm plate here, so I'm going to use that. Probably overkill, but that's what I've got. So I'm going to make a template out of cardboard, and that's going to be my gasket. I'll probably put some gasket glue, bolt that, make this thing here, bolt that on, and on this side, just got to put that plate on there, and then he can water test it. Apparently, anyway, like it's not the best, this head, but it's what we've got. Look, he's a bit worried about these cracks in here, and you know, we'll just see. First, we've got to make sure it's watertight before we do anything. If it's watertight, then we can move forward and then make sure we get compression. But to fix that, I've got to pull these valve seats out, and they've got to get thrown away and made new ones, welded, all that. Apparently these things aren't easy to come by. They're a real thick, deep thing. So, you know, it's just got to go bit by bit. Like, if we've got to buy a new head, they're not actually easy to come by, and I wouldn't be surprised if that stupid thing costs thousands. Anyway, that's what I'm doing there. Template there. I'm hoping to use that as a gasket too. A bit of gasket glue. I've got this 10mm plate. I've got to cut it out of that. It can't protrude past there, otherwise it won't fit on the machine. So I've just got to cut it out of that. It's going to make a bit of noise. Then I'll drill them holes. Finally got that plate made. Yeah, I had to scrap that 10mm steel thing. It was just too thick. The bolt's got to go down on an angle. And like, you got the steel plate coming out, but they just didn't want to go in, the bolts. Seems weird, I know, but unless I drill them on an angle, they weren't going to go in. And anyway, it was sticking up too far. This has to be, it has to be below there. So I've got to actually take the top off these nuts and that washer there. I'll just grind them off when this stuff's dried. I've made a paper gasket. I've put the thing on the back here. That bit there. So it's ready to go. I'll take it back up to Guy's on Monday and he can finish water testing it. Just. Anyway, that's done. It's pissing down rain in here, that's why it's so noisy. Well, I've had to go back up and pick the head up again, so that's, I don't know, third time or whatever it is. The problem is with this head, it's no good. Basically, it's no good. These cracks here, and I'll just grab a light. Right, see these cracks here? They're no good. I'm trying to shine a light there, hold the camera and point with this thing at the same time. It's a bit tricky. But yeah, those cracks there, coolant's leaking into the cylinder. You know, we don't want that. The head's failed the test, where you wanted to see if it was leaking. It's failed miserably. This is the reason why this car was parked in the first place. This head's stuffed. Like when we had this car, we could push it in gear. You know, it just had no compression at all. So basically what I'm going to have to do is repair these cracks. I'm going to get the MIG, I'm going to blob a weld on each side here and just slide them and pop those valve seats out. All 8 of them have got to go. And we'll replace those with unleaded ones as long as we can fix this. So I'll grind these cracks down. This is the worst one. There's 2 cracks. It's pretty hard to see it unless I shine the light straight on, but you can see that crack goes down about 7 threads or something. I'm going to have to grind them out, weld them. And each one's like that, but the front 2 aren't too bad. This one's a bit worse, and that one's the worst one. So I'm just going to have to grind it right out, weld it back up, carefully drill a hole there, and run a tap down back through there. Like you can do it with a mill and stuff, but I'm just going to do it by eye. I reckon I can get it pretty close. The aluminium's pretty soft. You can just force a tap through, and that'll just, you know, that'll just make that hole anyway, as long as it's close. Anyway, that's basically where we're at. With it, the heads failed the test miserably. It's the reason this car was parked in the first place. So we're just going to hold off on the other machine work. Like that's pretty straightforward doing the cylinders. We've got the pistons. We've got, everything else looks pretty good. It's just we've got to either get a new head or fix this head. And like, I can't wreck this head because it's basically junk. So I'm going to have a go at fixing it, because these heads aren't easy to come by, and unless you get lucky, it's going to cost a fortune. Everybody wants a lot of money for these bits and pieces of these cars. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a little part that's worth nothing. They want heaps for it. So anyway, I'm just giving you an update on what's going on with this engine. A few people have been asking me, but one way or other, we'll get this car going. I haven't done this much work to this car to stop now. One way or other, this car's going to go. One of these engines, it just might take a little while, I'm not sure. But one thing I just wanted to add, that we've managed to get not one starter motor, but now we've got two. We've got two starter motors. They're coming from Japan. We got them from Yahoo Auctions. So we've got one for this engine, and we're going to sell one. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in. That's a little bit of good news. Thanks for watching that.